G'day, we're in the Wilpena Pound, Ikara-Flinders Ranges National Park. We're going to be basing ourselves here for about a week, and we're going to be looking at everything around the actual pound and the northern part of the Flinders Ranges. Okay, there's some actual ancient mountains and spectacular gorges to explore, so let's go have a look. Our first stop is the Rawnsley Park Station airfield to catch a flight over the Wilpena Pound. Stokes Lookout is approximately 20 kilometres north of the Wilpena Pound Resort. It offers panoramic views of the Wilpena Pound and also has a number of interpretive signs. This diagram here at Hucks Lookout is a great illustration of how Wilpena Pound was formed. About 1,000 to 500 million years ago, the earth sank around this area and there was an inland sea, and this filled up with marine sediment and organisms, etc. And then what happened is the earth buckled under pressure and it formed these ridges. The hard bit stayed at the top. This is Wilpena Pound, these are the ridges around, and you'll see there's ridges and bits that are weathered down. The fantastic thing about Wilpena Pound and the whole Flinders Ranges is that everything has been preserved, from cracks, ripples, raindrops, marine life and deposits over hundreds of millions of years, and geologists absolutely love this area because there's so much about history that they've gotten from the way the earth formed in the last 100 million years. Today we're at Parachilna and we're about to head down the Parachilna Gorge out to Blinman. As you can tell, the flies are shocking here. But Parachilna used to be on the Gan line, used to be one of the railheads. There's quite a few people who used to work and live here. Today, there's only a few houses here and the Pieri Hotel, which sells camels. And flies here are shocking. Old Pieri Hotel, which sells some bush tucker like kangaroo and emu and camel. So you can tell these flies are shocking. Unfortunately, the Pieri Hotel was closed. Alright, so we've left Parachilna and the flies behind. We're about to head into the gorge. It's unsealed road for about 30 k's down through the gorge. Very lovely scenery, and we are set to go. Anyway, we're in Blinman now, so we're going to go and check out the highest town in South Australia. In 1859, a shepherd called Robert Blinman discovered copper ore here and brought the license to the area. They started mining for copper, and for about 45 years it was owned by 4 different companies and produced about 10,000 tonnes of copper ore. The mine today operates as a tourist attraction.
At what's left of the works on top of the surface here. So we'll go and have a look.
So we've got the key from the information centre for the old miners' cottage, actually owned by Frederick Williams. So it's actually an original miners' cottage. So let's go have a look. This is known as the Great Wall of China. As you can see, there's a ridge of hard rock at the top, which has protected the softer sediments below. Everything else has eroded away, leaving the ridge across the top that looks a lot like the actual Great Wall of China. The turn-off to Brachina Gorge is about 30 minutes from the Wilpena Resort and is 20 kilometres of unsealed road. For our drive, the track was in good condition, but the area around Brachina Gap becomes quite rocky. It isn't a problem for four-wheel drives, but if you are in a two-wheel drive, beware, especially when there's been rain. This spectacular gorge was once used as a pass-through for bullock teams and their loads. The slopes on the western side of the gorge are home to a population of the vulnerable yellow-footed rock wallaby. These form part of the largest population of yellow-footed rock wallabies in Australia, with an estimated population of 2,000 in the Flinders Ranges. Bunyeroo Gorge Road intersects Brachina Gorge Road approximately halfway along. At the T-junction you can choose to continue or do some doubling back to see the full length of the Brachina Gorge.
Wow, this is Bunyeroo Lookout. Look how beautiful it is.
Razorback Lookout. It's one of the lookouts on the Bunyeroo Road. So if you're coming down this way, there's the Bunyeroo Lookout and the Razorback Lookout. This one truly is an amazing view. It's really spectacular. Our next spot is the Wangarra Lookout hike with panoramic views inside the pound. It begins in the Wilpena Resort and is 7.8 kilometres return. Along the way we'll also see the historic Hills Homestead. Amazingly, the Hills family were running livestock and even tried growing wheat in the pound until they left in 1914. Continue along the track for the lower and upper lookouts. Lookout, looking into and across the Wilpena Pound is truly spectacular and well worth the hike. Arkaroo Rock is a small rock shelter with ancient Aboriginal paintings. The rock paintings, featuring ochre and charcoal images that depict the Uramata, which means dreaming or creation story of Wilpena Pound, dating back 5,000 years. The site is 16 kilometres from the Wilpena Pound Resort and is a 1.5 kilometre walking track to the rock shelter from the car park. The Wilpena Pound sunset experience at Stokes Hill Lookout is one not to be missed. Enjoy a cheese platter and some bubbly as an elder explains the dream time and the formation of the pound. Then relax as the sun goes down and enjoy the changing colours of the landscape, and definitely don't forget your camera. Our next hike up to the top of Red Hill is rated as Grade 4 hard, as it includes some very steep fire track sections and is 8.4 kilometres return. From the Red Hill Lookout you'll be greeted with spectacular views of the Aroona Valley and the peaks of Wilpena Pound. One of the things you've got to be really careful in the Flinders Ranges is there's a lot of these type of rocks around, and you can see how sharp they are, and they're on all the roads and all the gravel and unsealed roads, and if you hit one of those with a car tyre you've basically got an unrepairable puncture. So keep an eye out when you're on the road driving around. If you see any rocks that look sharp, just try and move around them and not hit them, because that'll damage your tyre. John Hayward, the first pastoralist to arrive in the region, took up the Aroona Run in 1851 and stocked it with 3,300 sheep. It was a harsh life, but by 1853 his flock had increased to 9,500 sheep. In 1862 he sold the property and returned to England. Lucky for him, as from 1864 to 1866 the severe droughts devastated the area and destroyed most pastoral runs.
Old Wilpena Station in the Flinders Ranges, so we're just going to go and check it out. But it's been a working station for about 135 years and it's a heritage listed site. Anyway, let's go and check it out. presume this is for the horse's poo. It's a big shovel. Oh, and it's heavy too.
This was the store. Actual station itself. The homestead was actually called Government House for their station, and basically they always started as a pug and pine like we saw before, and later on, once the tenure of the lease was secured, they'd then go and build a stone building like we see here today. So this station house was built in 1860, and it's actually one of the oldest station houses in the Flinders Ranges, and it still survives today. It was restored in 1947. Not sure what that's for, but this is the site of the original homestead, which was made out of pine and pug, like the other original cottages. Once the stone homestead was built, they then turned this into a storage and kitchen. And then in the 1930s, early 1930s, they actually demolished it and used the stone from some of the chimneys from the buildings that they no longer needed to create what was a garage. So the garage today is now the visitor centre, where you can come in, you pay a fee, and you can actually go inside the homestead and have a look around. Unfortunately, it's closed today because this is sort of like a bit of the off season for them. But if you do come this way and you actually want to have a look in the homestead, it might pay to call first, make sure it's open. Joseph Wills came in here in 1856 from England and set about setting up livestock. Let's go have a look and see what's left. Joseph Wills took up the unwanted land on the southern side of the creek and started building stockyards as well as a homestead. However, soon after establishing his run, the copper miners arrived and decided to settle across the creek on the northern side. With water being just as important to both of them as it is to us today, a 13-year argument over lease boundaries and access to the Appealinna water spring began. The wealthy miners lobbied government to have the water spring removed from the lease, eventually winning and forcing Joseph to abandon the run. Today, the ruins of both Joseph's southern pastoral run and the miners' northern settlement can be visited by the general public. mine was abandoned in 1860 due to the remoteness and scarcity of timber. Today you can still see the entrance to the shaft, some boilers and a miner's hut. Very few of these huts have survived. Alright, so we're off to our next destination. If you like this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and join us for our next video as we explore Australia.